Hey, what's going on YouTube? In this week's video, I want to do something a little bit different, but still in line with what we have been covering. Now, for those that are not familiar with the channel, we have been covering AI quite extensively. Now, one of the things that I want to do, and something that is interesting to me, is the idea of doing our own HomeLab dashboard. Now, I think the HomeLab is going to be changing a lot over the next couple of years, even maybe the next couple of months. Now, with that being said, one of the things that comes with most home labs is some kind of dashboard. A dashboard is for you to have easy access to your information or your resources. Now, the reason why I think this is kind of unique, there are a lot of open source projects that are already out there that could be used, but why not create our own and to make it customized to us? And we could also do it a lot quicker with the use of AI. Now, what we're going to be using in this week's video, and it might change going forward, but we're going to be using Google Anti-Gravity, the Agent First IDE. Now, real quick, just to provide you an example of how many different uses or how many different HomeLab dashboards there are, I just went to Reddit and I asked for HomeLab dashboards, and I found this Reddit post of over 60 or 70 posts or something like that, replies that talk about different dashboards that people like, one of them being homepage right here. There's another one that talks about, I guess a few people are saying homepage, Homar. I know I've used a few in the past. Here's Heimdall. I use Dashi, which I really like, which is another thing that we're going to talk about in a minute. There's a lot. Zabbix, I guess, could be used as a HomeLab dashboard, but this is just the idea. Or I just wanted to, here's Dashi mentioned right here. I just wanted to show you how many different options that are available today, but going forward, there might be a lot more with the use of AI. Now, the reason why that's important is because you can make it your own. So what we're going to do today is I'm not going to try to steal anything away from Dashi. I think it is a great project. It is open source, a lot of documentation, and you could use it as you would like. Now, with that being said, I did like it a lot, but I want to kind of take away just for the use of this video. I'm not sure exactly if this is how I'm going to do my HomeLab going forward, or if I'm going to make any changes to it or the theme, but I did like how the layout was. But I did just want to use this as a starting point as I build out my dashboard in my HomeLab. Again, this may change, but for this video, it is a great example to kind of start from, how AI can be so useful to get you from point A to point B a lot quicker and make a HomeLab dashboard that is more customized to you. So first, what we're simply going to do is we're going to go ahead and just actually take a quick snapshot of a dashboard that we like. Actually, this is the one that we would want right here. Now, again, I do not want to steal anything away from Dashi, but with AI, that option is available to us. I mean, this is an open source project, so I don't see any problem with it. And again, I do think you are doing a great job, and it is a great project, and there's a lot of features that go with this project, but I want one for myself. All right, so what we have now is the Google Anti-Gravity, the Agent First IDE. I have done a few videos about this, and that is what we are going to use today. So here it looks pretty similar to what you would see with Visual Studio Code. You have your terminal down here at the bottom. We're going to have our our code base right here in the middle, and then we have our agent here on the right side. There are some different views to get into the agent manager, and we could actually run multiple agents at once, but in this case we're just going to do a few minutes of this. We're not going to go too crazy, but I wanted to kind of show you how quick we could get there, and then going forward we will probably iterate on this and create more videos as we build out this HomeLab together. So first, we're going to go ahead and actually just create a prompt, provide that picture, and have it create an initial React project. Now, eventually what we're going to actually do, the end result of this, whether it be today or in another video, is we're going to actually ask it to package it up into a Docker image, and then we're going to host it into our GitLab repository. And then for those again that are not familiar with this channel, we did just stand up a Kubernetes HomeLab that is fully deployed now at this moment, and we're going to go ahead and use that to deploy our application from GitLab and then pull it into Argo CD. So we have a CI/CD and a continuously deploying HomeLab dashboard that is ready to go at all times. I'm not going to read the entire prompt, but as you can see, I added a picture of what we had took on the Dashi dashboard website, and I had said I'm looking to create a HomeLab dashboard for my home. Over the years, I've used many dashboards, and the features are all unique between the different solutions out there. And I continued to kind of prompt to talk about exactly what we want to get at a minimum, or an MVP, or minimum viable product. Again, this is just going to be like an open source HomeLab project that I'm going to work with and maybe share it with others. But in this case, I just needed a simple start. I wanted to get a UI that allowed us to create these different cards with icons and links in those, and then at the very bottom I asked it to also give us the option to add custom icons or even pull from this one here, which is just a public Git repo that has some assets that can be used. There's quite a lot there if that's not something that you have seen before. And then I said at the bottom, let's start with a dark mode theme, and if we wanted to add a light one later, we could go ahead and do so. But we're going to go ahead and actually send this prompt. In this case, we're going to go ahead and leave it on Claude Opus 4.5. and we're going to leave it in planning mode. All right, so as you can see, the agent went ahead and actually developed or created an implementation plan. So usually what I do is I go ahead and actually review the plan depending on the feature or what I am building out. Now in this case, I noticed a few things that I want to go ahead and update. I do like that it includes the reference design, so I know that it understands this is kind of what we're going after. It also adds some key features, most of which is what we talked about: the dark mode, the card, service items, icon selection, custom icon upload, and then persistent storage, which we didn't exactly talk about, but I'm assuming this just means obviously the information and the resources that we are being discussed are going to be stored. Now the other thing, as we go down here, I do see an app.js, but I noticed that it was kind of mainly talking about HTML and CSS. And then I noticed here at the bottom it says questions for user review, which I do like because it actually asks me some questions before it goes ahead and implements it. So one of the first things that I noticed is it did have this technology choice question, and it said, I'm planning to use a vanilla CSS and JavaScript with no framework. Is this acceptable, or would you prefer a framework like React? Now in my case, since I've been playing around with React so much and building out these different websites and projects, I'm going to go ahead and actually ask it to do that as well, as I do think it is something that we could grow into a little bit more rather than just having a static HTML or CSS website. The other thing that I want to kind of mention here, I will either do it here in this comment section down here, or I will edit as before I send it out for implementation, is I want to make sure that this project, as we build this out, it has the ability to be a containerized application. Now I do not see any problem with that, but I just want to make sure that that is accounted for as we start this project. So I'm just going to go ahead and click on this here and add a comment on this line so we could actually make sure that the question gets answered that is being asked. So I actually just added 3 comments to those questions. I said, let's move forward with React. And then I said, I want the user to be able to view the icons so they can select them and use them as they wish. And then I said, let's keep it minimal with the first iteration. Now, before sending that off, I also want to, again, make sure that it understands that this is going to be eventually a containerized application that I'm going to deploy in my HomeLab. So let's make sure that we keep that in mind as we build this out. All right, so in about 7 minutes or so, we were able to get what looks like a working product. Now, again, it is a minimal solution at this time, but it is something that we're going to continue to iterate on. But I want to show you exactly what it looks like. So here, as you can see, it went through and actually did some testing, and it built us this walk. And with that walkthrough, we're able to see the completed features, which is what we talked about and highlighted inside of the implementation plan. Underneath that, we're able to see the project files, which is also listed in the HomeLab dashboard repository. Now, the coolest part about using the Google Anti-Gravity, the agent first IDE that we're discussing today, is going to be down here at the bottom. That comes with the walkthrough, which is artifacts related to the task or the project that is being discussed. So here you can see it actually rendered the website, and it is just an empty HomeLab dashboard, pretty much very minimal. Like we said, it has no cards yet. It has the ability to add a card. Now if we go back to it, we actually see it actually does that for us. Here's another picture. Then here at the bottom, there's actually a video of the agent actually doing that task and actually creating it and testing it and making sure it works. So as you can see here, it saves a card, and then it's going to go ahead and actually add a task to that card or a resource to that card. So you can see it adds a service name, adds an IP address or a URL, and it actually has the icons and an icon library already there for us. So that looks perfect. But let's go ahead and test it out for ourselves and actually see if it works. So to do that, if we scroll down a little bit more, we could actually see that we have some steps or instructions that we could follow to go ahead and stand it up. So in this case, we have the ability to run this command or actually use Docker Compose. Now we're not going to use Docker Compose because we just need to spin it up to go do some testing. So we're going to go ahead and do npx serve with that 3000, and then we will be able to view that by going to localhost port 3000. All right, as you can see, we are now at our website, and we're going to go ahead and actually do the test ourselves. So we're going to click on add card, and we're going to say that maybe this is for networking, and save card. Now I actually like the example that it provided, so I'm going to try to do the same thing because we did just stand up a Proxmox cluster recently. So we have Proxmox, we're going to say Proxmox, and then we're just going to specify the IP address, and we're going to click on save service. All right, so let's go ahead and actually test it out. So it created that card, the firewall card. It looks like we have the ability to edit that, which is pretty cool. We also have the ability to edit that Proxmox icon that we had created, and we have the ability to add more. And inside of there, I actually just noticed we have the option to upload a custom image or icon here at the bottom, which is awesome, and that is exactly what we were going after. So in this case, we're going to go ahead and actually click on this here and see if it gets us to our Proxmox. Let me just go back in there and make sure everything looks correct. I'm not sure why it reverted. So this should be 192.168.15. Let's go ahead and save that and let's try that again. All right, as you can see, we are able to now hit that and we are able to get to our Proxmox cluster. So I think I'm going to stop this video here because this is actually quite exciting. I think we could do a lot more with this and we're going to continue to iterate on it. Now, like I said, the end product or the end goal of this is to have a fully functional Docker or a containerized application that we're going to deploy into our Kubernetes cluster, and it's going to be fully using GitOps and Argo CD to go ahead and continuously deploy and integrate that application into our environment. Now, what we're going to do before we get to that in the following videos is we're going to iterate on this dashboard to make it a little bit better. Some ideas that I already have is maybe getting some kind of feed here for our RSS feed, so I don't have to go anywhere. Maybe I could just kind of integrate it or embed it into here. I have plenty of other ideas that I'm going to also play around with, so look out for those videos as we move into the coming weeks. But I'm going to close out today's video. I hope you were able to take something away, and as always, never stop learning.